So it's all for play for still.
I think so. Do you want to bet against us?
Aston Villa fans, and welcome to For the Love of Paul McGrath podcast. And if anybody can tell me what kind of ghost or gremlin just creeps into my room, into my podcasting room at night time, and changes everything every single night, just changes it, I'd be delighted if somebody could tell me that, because I don't make any of these changes, and literally I come in and everything is completely upside down every single day. I don't know what's happened. Been going on for the last 3 or 4 months. But anyway, I hope, as I always say, for the team sheet tantrum, because it always seems to happen and be most apparent for the team sheet tantrum shows. Hopefully my gremlins, my upside downisms that happen to me during this podcast are the only upside downisms that happen to anybody associated with Aston Villa today, because Villa have a long trip, and have been on a long trip to get down to the south coast to play against Bournemouth today, and in a game that obviously, look, there's pressure on this game, and a game that they need to win, and the team is something that we're all, I presume, looking forward to knowing and seeing, and the team itself is out at the moment, so I'm just going to pop it up here on screen and we can discuss it, as is nearly customary now with team sheet tantrums, specifically the ones I do on my own. Unfortunately, this will be a shorter one, about 15 minutes long, because I have kids to look after. So the team here is Martinez, Cash, Konza, Mings, Dina, Luis, Onana, Buendia, Sancho, Rogers, and Watkins, with Marco Bizot, Sam Proctor, Victor Lindelof, Ian Matson, Pau Torres, Lamar Bogard, Leon Bailey, Ross Barkley, and Tammy Abraham on the bench. No Harvey Elliott on the bench. I'll be honest, I kind of expected that, given the comments that Unai Emery had last night. But I suppose the one big difference here is Tyrone Mings comes in as that centre half. I think I mentioned that on the preview show myself and Paddy did. I think I said, I think maybe Mings might come in here as centre half. If I didn't, I have it written down here in front of me. I wrote it down to try and say it at the time. But yeah, I think that that was probably on the cards. I know that Tyrone Mings is somebody who, does have a brain fart in him. But I think maybe a small bit of strength today might be something that might be needed. I think that Aston Villa are going to, like Jacob Tanswell made a great point today. Last time Aston Villa went to the South Coast, went down to play Bournemouth, they let Bournemouth have the ball and they attacked them on the counter-attack, because one of Areola's biggest strengths is he sets the team up to recover the ball high up and to launch kind of mini counter-attacks from good positions within the field. And Villa did that last time they were there. They allowed Bournemouth to have the ball. 37% possession is all Villa had. And maybe they might do something similar again today. Sancho, Buendia and Rogers in behind Watkins. Tammy Abraham on the bench. Yeah, look, I think... obviously there's no Harvey Elliott in there. As I said, I certainly didn't expect him to start. Didn't even expect him to be on the bench, to be honest with you. And look, I know a lot of people think I'm being contrarian with this. I've had a lot of people reach out to me via DM, but saying, Neil, you seem to be the only podcaster that's kind of not run in behind the whole, well, where's Harvey Elliott and why isn't Harvey Elliott playing? And, I think, and sorry, not from that point of view, but like, when our 3 guys are back, Harvey Elliott won't get on won't get on the bench for Aston Villa. It's only a highlighted piece for me now, or for the team now, and everybody's talking about it, because they kind of, it seems like they kind of need him at the moment. But based on evidence, he's and the situation he's in, he's not going to be played, and we just have to kind of live with that, I suppose, really. But like, it's never been a bone of contention for me. Specifically when we had a winning team, there was nobody talking about it. We lose 2 games out of our last 3 in the league, and all of a sudden it becomes a big thing. And I know obviously injuries account for that too, and that's one of the reasons why. But it's a sorry situation, and like when we have a full 20 players available, I don't think he's in our top 20 players anyway. Even with the squad that we have, so that is something that I actually do believe, because I believe the quality of the players that we have, and it's just a sad situation for Harvey Elliott. But he's not on the bench, and Villa have gone with two subs and Marco Bizzat and Sam Proctor, or two sub keepers, Marco Bizzat and Sam Proctor instead. Apart from that, look, I know a lot of people would have maybe thought that Tammy Abraham might have started. Maybe we would have seen Abraham and Watkins together. I always thought that maybe Watkins would come in just based on what Unai Emery had said in the press conference. I always thought that Watkins would walk into that position again, based on the fact that he said that Tammy is still acclimatizing, but he's acclimatizing quickly. Good to have Ross Barkley back in the bench, and obviously Leon Bailey is there too. But it's we've cover for every area of the field, which I think is good to have, and it's something that we can't really say we've had for the last 4 or 5 weeks with this team, specifically since Marlon has gone. You can't really say that we've had cover for every single area of the field. If somebody gets injured or somebody isn't playing well, we can bring Lindelof in as centre half or right back. We can bring Lamar Bogart in central midfield in the pivot places. We can bring Ross Barkley in the 10 position. We can bring Bailey on. We can bring Tammy Abraham on. So we have when Villa were going well, and when Villa were and they're not exactly going terribly at the moment, but when Villa were on that massive winning streak, they had 5 people that they could bring on to change the game. And you can look at that team there. You can see you could bring on Ian Matson, Lamar Bogart, Leon Bailey, Ross Barkley, Tammy Abraham, and there's your 5 your 5 good, strong, experienced players that you can bring in there. And I didn't even mention Pau Torres or Victor Lindelof if it was a centre half that they wanted to change. So I think Unai Emery would be pretty happy with those options there that are available to him on the bench. And I think he'd be pretty happy with the 11 that he's able to put out there. But it doesn't really, for me, the starting 11s and aren't really that really of concern to me at the moment. I just want results. I genuinely, I'm at the stage where, if whoever has to play goes in there, it's results based for me. It just has to be, because we see Man United are winning against Spurs at the moment. Spurs get that yellow or that red card. Christian Romero again loses his head and red card, and United go 1-0 up. You would imagine they're going to go on to win this. You've got Liverpool versus Man City, 2 teams that are battling in and around us. So the Villa winning today is quite pivotal, because Man United currently, as things stands, are only 2 points behind Aston Villa, if I'm not mistaken, in the league as it is. So it's definitely something that Villa need to do. We need to come out of the Vitality today with points, and preferably 3 points as well. What's everybody's take on the white shirt? I like it. I know we've played in it already this year, and I know everybody's of the opinion of anything but the black shirt, which I think I'm of that opinion too, even though it's not from a superstitious point of view. I just that white shirt has grown on me. That's why I ask about it. It's grown on me, and I think it's with the trefoil on it, and with the collar detail, I think it's probably a nod to what next year's home shirt might look like, or the template for it, especially if you are to believe anything you've seen on any rumor sites or whatever the case is. But hopefully we get a tune out of the team playing that white shirt as well, and out of that man that's on that on the lineup sheet there that we can see in front of us. Now let me take a little look at the Bournemouth side. I'll pop this up here. Boom, boom. But yeah, I think, look, as I say, one of the biggest things for Unai Emery is having the ability to bring those 5 players, those 5 subs off the bench, to be able to try and affect the game if we need to, especially away from home, because that was one of our huge strengths during our long unbeaten run. Now Bournemouth's team is up also. Bournemouth are going with Darja Petrovic, Truffert, Cook, Senesi, Scott, Ivan Nielsen, Jimenez, Adley, I know you called him Aldi, Adley, Krupi, Hill, and Rayan. So Rayan gets the start. So it's going to be Truffert on the left, Hill and Senesi with who's going to be right back there in that? Will it be is it going to be Lewis Cook going to be right back there? Probably Jimenez. Jimenez will be right back in that instance. You're going to probably have Cook and Scott, two holding midfielders, with Adley, Krupi, and Rayan behind Evan Nielsen. So they've launched their Brazilian superstar that they've bought. Like, isn't it bonkers to think you go back 20 years ago, and to think that a team like Bournemouth would have like a Brazilian hotshot superstar like Rayan, a young superstar, be able to tempt them there. They've like, it's the Premier League #1, and also Bournemouth have there's serious credit due to them how they've built that team and how they've built their club, I suppose, over the last 20 years or so. But they've unleashed him today. Hopefully, we don't see him reach his potential today. Hopefully, we don't see him be the talking point today, and hopefully we were able to keep this team on the back foot and press home any advantages that we do get, whether we get and maybe, who knows, maybe we get a penalty today. Who knows? Maybe today is our day to get a penalty, because God knows we haven't had one so far this season. On the bench, they have Mendes, they've David Brooks, they've Ryan Christie, they've got Adam Smith, Diakate, Enasunal, Adam Toth, the Hungarian whiz kid that they signed from Ferencváros as well. Milosevic and Gonzalez then make up the rest of that bench as well. So they've a strong team, and they have a pretty strong bench as well to be able to call upon. So I'm hoping that Aston Villa can press home any advantage today against this team, because, as I say, look, Bournemouth are 13 points behind us. The league is a funny old league at the moment, specifically how concertinaed it is. Every team is taking points off every team, and teams are having moments of purple patches, I suppose, within this league this year. There was a period at the start of the season where Bournemouth were up in like second, third position, and now they're down in 13th, I think, somewhere along those lines. And but a win will take them, rocket them back up the league again. So every team literally in the Premier League at the moment seems to have something to play for, or at least the hope of something to play for, outside of probably outside of Spurs, really. I would say if Spurs were to lose today, it becomes a kind of as I say, the concertinaed effect of the league. Spurs aren't going to get relegated. It doesn't look like that they will. They could go on a massive winning streak, but if they keep getting players sent off like Romero did today, well then they're not going to be able to launch much of an attack up the league to try and finish in 7th or 6th position, try and get a European place. But it's a weird old league this year, and we're contributing to it. Our great form at the start of the year our horrible form at the start of the year, followed by our brilliant form in October, November, December, have contributed to the weirdness of the league as well. And hopefully we can get that great form back again here against Bournemouth. I am going to come to some of your comments there. Where did I go to? Again. So Adam says, good afternoon all. Hopefully we get 3 points today and get ourselves back on track. Absolutely. I think that is definitely, I don't care how we win, as long as we win, really, at the moment. Keep that buffer zone, keep those points, the points differential to the teams that we have behind us for another week at least. Michael Huggins is the feet up and watching the curling at the moment. That's the job. Nice, relaxing spot of curling just before you get into the madness of Aston Villa football at 3:00 today. Where else are we? Sewer Sound says Windows in it. I think that's a reference to the Gremlins that I'm having on my system. I don't own a Windows machine, unfortunately, so I don't think it can be Windows. I think it's just the actual the web browser that I use for streaming, but it'll be fine. Michael Hogan says no, Allison, no. Unai Emery more or less said that he wouldn't be risked for today, but he would be in contention for Brighton. They're trying to ease him back because they want to get him a concerted amount of games towards the end of the season. So yeah, no, Allison today. Steve says bench is looking much better today. I think that's the main talking point, albeit we do have two Goalkeepers on the bench. The fact that, look, and it would be great to have Harvey Elliott in there. And look, I know I said at the start that there's, like, I'm kind of just a small bit miffed about the massive amount of the column inches that are written about it, when it's, realistically speaking, you know, in 3 weeks' time, 4 weeks' time, he probably isn't going to get on our bench, because there would be better players, there would be players more suited to our system that would be there. But I would have liked him to be on the bench today. I suppose I didn't actually finish off my thought on that. Him being on the bench actually helps us today, but obviously they're playing that one close to their chest with regards to the fact they're probably going to use him as sparingly as they possibly can, if they're going to use him at all, so they don't trigger that buyback clause. And I must say, Don Hutchinson did have a good tweet up today, and he actually needed to clarify it. He said players pay their subscriptions every year to the PFA. And he was kind of saying that, look, there should be some sort of mediation here from the PFA for instances like this. Potentially that is the case, but I would imagine that would need to be instigated by the player himself. But look, it's just an unfortunate situation, and it's one that doesn't look like there's going to be any decision made around. And I suppose the fact that Unai Emery is talking about it in the press and trying to, I suppose, really trying to litigate it within the press isn't something that we normally see Unai Emery do. But I don't think that Liverpool are going to feel under any pressure to do anything with regards to the clause, and it's just the way it's going to be for the rest of the season, unfortunately, I think. Steve says this is made for Tammy to come on and score the winner from the penalty spot. Amen to that. Absolutely. Why not? Or score the third goal to make us go 3-0 up. I prefer that one. I prefer if it was that. But yeah, Tammy, come off the bench, open his account for his second time being back in this club will be absolutely fantastic today. Kevla says, must be me, I don't get Sancho and what he brings. No, I agree with you. Well, I do get why he's in there, but I'm underwhelmed by Sancho as much as I am with with the situation that's going on with Harvey Elliott as well. I'm underwhelmed with Sancho for sure. Like, it's not a case of one versus the other for me. I'm expecting more from Sancho. I think the reason he's in there is same reason that Evan Gassand was in there at right midfield, or the right wing position, was simply, one thing I will say that I didn't expect from Sancho was his willingness to come back and help Matty Cash in defence. And I think that's paramount for that right-sided player that Unai Emery wants, and hence why when John McGinn is fit again, he will be in there, with probably with Leon Bailey being his understudy for that change of pace there as well. But yeah, like if you were to ask me what we're doing with Sancho at the end of the season, I certainly wouldn't be forking out any money for him. Now, I think his contract is up, but he's not justifying the wages. I don't think that anybody is spending on him at the moment. But from the point of view of an available person to play who is able to diligently do that defensive work, I think that's why Unai Emery has him in there specifically from the start. Jake says, Neil, why two keepers in the bench? Surely someone like Caden Young could be there rather than two goalies. Well, Caden Young is more than likely talking out for Reading today, because he is on loan at Reading. We loaned out a lot of our youth players just on the last day of the season, but Caden Young got a loan to Reading, as did Roy Wilson. Got a loan to Storm Graz. This is a cracking move for him. Cracking move. Like, as good a move as Villa could have gotten for a striker is to loan him to Storm Graz. And I'm not being hyperbolic when I say that, but you look back at what Storm Graz have done with strikers in a short space of time to build them up, get them scoring goals, and to move them on to other clubs. Specifically over the last 5 years, they moved them on to the next level clubs, who then obviously moved them on again. But Storm Graz give young strikers opportunities, and they give young strikers who didn't make it at other clubs opportunities. And I'm not saying that Rory Wilson didn't make it at Villa, but the fact that he goes there, and I think I read Jacob Tanswell say that it automatically triggers a year-long extension for us in his contract. The fact he goes there will hopefully get game time at Storm Graz, get to learn at Storm Graz at that level, and then comes back to us. All going well, that is a good loan. That's as good a loan based on recent history of how they bring through strikers. That's as good a loan as he could have really have hoped for, to be honest with you. And he's been well advised by his agent to go there to Storm Graz, or whoever advised him to do that. That's just my 2 cents in it. Where else are we? I'm going to scroll down a small bit here. Stato. Afternoon. It says afternoon, Neil. Well, afternoon to you as well, Dale. And everybody will be able to say afternoon to Stato because we'll be throwing you directly into his stream directly at the finish of this, and you'll be able to watch his watch along if you so wish to do so. Dale is back up and running with these live streams, and I've been throwing you into them. I just haven't been announcing it. So if you've been wondering why I haven't been doing that, it has been happening, and and I hope you guys will stay and watch the watch along with Dale as well. Pee Wee says Krupi and Ryan will cause us problems. Well, Krupi and Ryan will cause us problems if we don't marshal the middle of midfield, and if we allow them to do basically essentially what Jacob Tanswell said, and allow them to dictate the press as high as they possibly can. Dictate the press in the middle of the field. Bournemouth are a team who, it's funny, there's a very specific area where they retreat to and then get into kind of like a bite mode again, then to trigger a press. And it's not as high as like the likes of Spurs or any of those teams, because it's almost like their attacks need a small bit of space to mature, and they're really good at it when it happens. So I think there's a smartness here or there should be a smartness, or I hope that there is a smartness from Aston Villa. We need to really lock down the middle of that field. Louise and Onana need to be teak tough inside there, not get moved around, not get not to lose their spacing in there. And I potentially think that that's why Mings is there as well. That Mings isn't going to, maybe he's not going to be as ball dominant with regards to passing the ball as Pau Torres is. He's not going to be tempted to break out of that line as much. And I think Mings is probably there as a better communicator, a better talker to have for Onana and Luis there. Not that they need it, not that they're inexperienced or anything, but a better talker to kind of make sure they don't break ranks in that area in those 2 6s, because I think they're absolutely pivotal today. They really are, if you'll excuse the pun, them being the 2 double pivots, but they are the linchpins for Villa today. Because if you marshal that area there with Krupi and you keep Ryan wide, not fully wide, but if you stop him from cutting in, if you stop stop Adley from the other side cutting in as well, I think that's where we can stop the higher percentage of chances, I think, for Bournemouth, just based on what I've seen from them before this season as well. I think probably you could say the same about every team if you were to keep the 2 6s teak tough in there, but I think this one more so than any, not having them drift too far forward, allow them to allow our attacks to kind of mature as well, without overhyping, I suppose, the passing and the speed of having to pass and break on the counter. It's going to be interesting to see what happens as the game begins to stretch out, and we do make those substitutions, specifically now that we have a bench to do that for the first time in 3 or 4 or 5 games. It is going to be interesting to see that as well. Guys, do you want to start putting in your your scores into the comments there, and we'll get to them in a moment, because I need to wrap this one up and go in and mind the chiller again. And Mike Warmball, you're dead right. I agreed with Don Hutchinson in this one. 100%. What are the players paying for if the organisation doesn't look out for their best interest? And that's the PFA. As long as the player is getting paid, they don't care. Well, it's like the PFA. I would have no problem with PFA mitigating this. And if they found Villa were wrong in this, or if they can't force Villa to play a player or anything like that, but what they can do is come in and try and mediate on it so that they do protect the player. But once again, contractually, everybody knew what they were signing into. So, it's a case of Villa are under no obligation to play him. And arguably, as I said, when everybody's back, I don't think he's a system fit for Aston Villa when everybody is back. And that's something that I genuinely believe. So anyway, he'll either play or he won't play. But at the end of the day, Villa need to win games, and they've shown that they can win games without him. So onwards and upwards. And it's a terrible situation for him. Scores coming in here. Stato started off with 3-1 to Villa. V for Villa is going 2-1 Villa. Jor is going 2-1 Villa. Jamie is going for a tough 1-0. Kevin Prince is going 2-2. John Duran is going for 3-1. Jake is going for 2-1 Villa. Michael Richards is going 2-1 Villa. Dennis is going for 2-2. Simon is going for 2-1 Villa. Confidence building 1-0. Says Michael Huggins. M50, M5555, MPW is going for 2-1. Richard Parks is going for 5-3 Villa. Philly is going for a 2-1 loss. Mr. Punch is going for 3-0. Wobbly is going for 1-0. Abraham Osdrum's going for 1-all. Derek Whelan's going for 3-1. Kahua is going for 1-7 to 10 points to draw. Ross Buchanan is going for 2-0 to Villa. Jar is going for 2-1 to Villa. Garrett, that was a different Jar. Garrett is going for 2-1 Villa as well. Jamie Tui says he can't wait for the 28th of March for Paddy's big birthday bash. Absolutely. Yeah, tickets are still on sale for that. It should be in the bio here as well. If anybody's looking for accommodation, hit me up with a DM or even email me at fortheloveofpomegranate@gmail.com. We'll see if we can find something for you up there as well. There's one or two places that are doing pretty decent deals, I hope, or if that they're still available, should I say. Kevin Doyle is going 3-1 to Villa. Michael O'Brien is going for 2-0. PD is going 3-0. Adam is going for 3-0. Stevie V is going for 2-1. And Debbie is going for 2-1. And I, on this day of Saturday, 7th of February in the year of our Lord 2026, is going for a 1-0 Aston Villa win today. I think that this is going to need to be clinical and professional from Aston Villa today. And I'm going to go with a 1-0 Villa win today. Again, I don't care how it's scored. I don't care if it's a Dougie Luiz corner and Anna gets his head in at the front post. I don't care if it's a Jadon Sancho bundles winning at the back post. I don't care if it's a Matty Cash screamer from outside the box. I don't care if it's an Emi Martinez gets the ball played back to him, plays a big, massive, long kick, gets caught in the wind. The goalkeeper, Petrovic, backpedals, it bounces up over his head and into the back of the net. I really couldn't care less how the goal is scored. I think today, and I think for the next couple of weeks, it's just about winning at all costs and getting back to that 3-point mentality that we have. Now, saying that, if we were to come out of this with a 1-all draw today, I think I would be, depending on obviously on how the game goes, if we were to draw 1-all with a 94th minute equaliser like we had last season against Bournemouth from across, they should never have scored from. We were completely in control of that game. And I remember John McGinn came out afterwards and was like, no, that's a game that we should not be drawing. That's a game that we should have won today and we didn't. And he was pretty miffed about it. I'll be miffed about it if that's the case as well. But, obviously contextual to how the game goes. I think this Villa team is good enough to go out and win this game today. This Villa team haven't become bad overnight, just like they didn't become bad over the summer when we had some bad results at the start of the year. We're capable of going on runs again. And let's start it today against Bournemouth, then back into Brighton during the week, and then try and see where it takes us then over the next 5 or 6 games as to where we stand within the league and where we stand within European or Champions League qualification too, prior to getting back into European competition in the middle of March as well. So that's going to do it for me, guys. I do need to run. I just looked. I've been on for nearly bloody half an hour. I'll get murdered inside. So there may not be a post-match podcast, and there may be an actual homicide instead. I won't stream it though. I might leave my camera on just so that you can't get me. But I should have been in there 15 minutes ago. Right, going to leave you at that, guys. Hopefully join me again for the post-match podcast directly afterwards. I'll throw you straight into Stato, into Dale's stream as well. Here's hoping that Aston Villa win, but in the meantime, stay safe, stay healthy, and all that's left to say is up the absolute mighty Aston Villa.